In the quiet town of El Palmar, something extraordinary has been built. Something that could redefine the way Carlos Alcaraz prepares for battle. Hidden behind the gates of his private training complex, a new weapon has been forged. A custom indoor hard court, designed to replicate the exact conditions he will face at the Paris Masters 1000. 4 months. Whispers circulated among those close to the World No.1. Why was Alcaraz spending less time in Villena at Juan Carlos Ferrero's academy and more time at home in Murcia? Now the answer has emerged. Inside a newly constructed industrial facility near El Palmar, Alcaraz's team has created a secret indoor arena, his own replica of the Paris court. Fast surface, low bounce, dim lighting, and a controlled temperature. Everything calibrated to the millimeter. It's a radical move, and yet perfectly in line with the Spaniard's mentality. Despite his incredible success, Grand Slam titles, Masters crowns, and the World No.1 ranking, Carlos knows there is one area where he still struggles: indoor hard courts. For a player whose game thrives on heavy topspin, explosive sprints, and variety, the ultra-fast rhythm of indoor tennis has always demanded a different kind of precision. He has lost key matches in Paris before, falling short in the quarterfinals year after year. And while he dominates clay, conquers grass, and electrifies outdoor hard courts, indoor tournaments have remained his final frontier. Now that is about to change. Carlos wanted to replicate every possible variable, a source close to his team revealed. He didn't want to just train on any hard court. He wanted the Paris court in El Palmar. The secret facility includes a full-size court built to ATP specifications, an integrated gym, physiotherapy room, and private locker area, all shielded from cameras and public access. Only a handful of people know its exact location. For Alcaraz, it's not just a training ground, it's a sanctuary, a place where he can focus on the one weakness that separates him from total dominance. This new phase of preparation also marks a subtle shift in his working dynamic. While Ferrero remains his coach and mentor, Alcaraz's growing independence is evident. The World No.1 has matured into a player who understands his body, his rhythm, and what it takes to sustain excellence across every surface. He's still only 22, but already his approach resembles that of a seasoned veteran. Calculated, introspective, and relentlessly focused on improvement. As the ATP calendar reaches its most grueling stretch, the debate about player workload has intensified. The number of tournaments we have to play is just too high, Alcaraz said recently in Paris. There's no time to rest, no time to train properly. It's week after week, and we don't even have time to prepare for what's next. It's a concern echoed by many players on the circuit, but when the World No.1 speaks, the message hits differently. He's not just complaining about fatigue. He's describing the limits of the human body in a sport that has become faster, longer, and more demanding than ever before. And that's precisely why this hidden court matters. It's not just about hitting balls. It's about efficiency. About finding a way to adapt when time and energy are scarce. In El Palmar, Alcaraz has engineered his own solution. A private lab where he can fine-tune his reactions, test his serve, and simulate the conditions of the Paris Masters without ever boarding a plane. It's his way of taking control of the uncontrollable, a testament to his growing awareness that at this level, success isn't only about talent. It's about adaptation. As he prepares for his long-awaited debut in Paris, the question isn't whether Carlos Alcaraz can win. It's whether he has finally cracked the code that has kept him human. The countdown is over. Carlos Alcaraz is ready to step into the Accor Arena for his long-awaited debut at the 2025 Paris Masters 1000, a tournament that has tested, and often frustrated, the world's best players. For the 22-year-old Spaniard, this isn't just another stop on the tour. It's a personal mission. His name is already etched in the sport's modern history. 6 Grand Slams, multiple Masters 1000 titles, and the distinction of being the youngest player in decades to dominate the ATP rankings. Yet, there's a persistent gap in his resume. Indoor hard courts. Paris, Turin. These are the surfaces where the control of bounce, the precision of the serve, and the narrow timing windows expose even the slightest weakness. Now, armed with preparation on his private indoor court back in El Palmar, Alcaraz aims to erase that narrative once and for all. His schedule for Paris is set. He will make his debut on Tuesday, October 28th, against the winner of the match between Sebastian Baez and Cameron Norrie. If he wins, he'll rest Wednesday before entering a relentless stretch. 1 match per day until Sunday's final. The stakes couldn't be higher. A title here would secure his position as year-end world #1, regardless of Jannik Sinner's results. A runner-up finish might still be enough, depending on how deep the Italian goes. But anything less could open the door for a seismic shift in the ATP hierarchy. Yet, beyond the rankings, Alcaraz faces a psychological frontier. Paris has never been kind to Spanish players. Even Rafael Nadal, the nation's greatest champion, was often met with hostility from the Parisian crowd. In fact, only once in the tournament's history has a Spaniard lifted the trophy: David Ferrer in 2012. For Alcaraz, who has never advanced past the quarterfinals here, that stat looms large. Last year, he fell in the round of 16 to France's Hugo Humbert, a defeat that exposed his discomfort in the faster, lower-bouncing conditions. This time, things are different. He's had 3 intense training days on the new La Défense Arena court, which replaces the old Bercy venue. The new surface, surprisingly slower and grittier, could play into his hands. It feels a bit slower, and that gives me more time to work the point, Alcaraz admitted during practice. That's good news for me. I can play my game. Observers in Paris have already noticed a sharper version of the Spaniard. His forehand, one of the heaviest in the sport, is landing deeper, and his backhand has regained the consistency that carried him through the clay and grass seasons. He's also working closely with Juan Carlos Ferrero on a crucial detail: the serve return pattern. Against power hitters like Fritz, Zverev, or Sinner, the first 2 shots often decide everything indoors. Alcaraz has been drilling those sequences daily. 1 serve, 1 forehand, 1 finish. Over and over, hundreds of times. His potential route in Paris is a gauntlet. After Norrie or Baez, he could face Jiri Lehecker in the 3rd round, Casper Ruud in the quarterfinals, and possibly Taylor Fritz in the semifinals. And then, if fate delivers what everyone wants, a final against Jannik Sinner, his new and relentless rival. While Alcaraz trains with quiet focus in Paris, on the other side of Europe, the Italian has chosen rest. Sinner's decision to skip the Davis Cup final sparked controversy, but veteran Fabio Fognini came to his defense. "As a player, I completely understand him," Fognini wrote. "He's finishing 2025 strong and wants to prepare properly for 2026. He's only 24, he'll have many chances to play for Italy again." Sinner himself was brief when asked about the criticism. "I accept all opinions. I've said everything I needed to say about this, and I have nothing more to add." The 2 young champions, despite their differences, seem bound by destiny. One chasing his best form indoors, the other perfecting it. Both will cross paths soon, whether in Paris, Turin, or at the Hyundai Card Super Match in South Korea scheduled for January 10, 2026, an exhibition that has already sold out in record time. For now, though, Paris is Alcaraz's battlefield. Beneath the lights of La Défense Arena, the mission is simple: prove that the boy from Palmar can master every environment the sport throws at him. Behind the easy smile and the joy that defines his game lies a new layer of intensity, the quiet determination of a player who knows that true greatness requires conquering your own limits. In the heart of Paris, with the lights dimmed and the echoes of bouncing tennis balls resonating through the vastness of La Défense Arena, Carlos Alcaraz finds himself standing at a crossroads, not just of a season, but of an era. He's no longer the teenage prodigy chasing legends. He's the benchmark, the standard, the man everyone is trying to beat. Yet, despite all the titles, the records, and the accolades, Alcaraz knows that his greatness is not defined by dominance alone. It's defined by adaptation. And that's precisely what this new chapter of his career represents: a reinvention for a surface that has long resisted him. The work he has done in Palmar, away from the cameras, speaks volumes. The indoor training court he secretly built there, complete with climate control, custom lighting, and the exact type of acrylic surface used in Paris, has become his laboratory. There, away from the glare of competition, he and his small circle have experimented relentlessly. Different strings, faster serves, flatter backhands, subtle changes to his stance. The goal wasn't to change his game, it was to refine it for the silence and precision of the indoor world. "Carlos wants to feel prepared for every single condition," says one of his coaches. "He doesn't want to arrive somewhere and say, 'I need to adjust.' He wants to arrive and say, 'I'm ready.'" That mentality reflects a transformation far deeper than technique. It's the evolution from raw instinct to structured mastery, the same leap that legends like Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic made when they turned from contenders into constants. And that's what makes his Wimbledon 2023 racket the one auction for a record-breaking $173,000. More than a collector's item. It's a symbol. That piece of carbon and string doesn't just represent a victory over Novak Djokovic. It represents the moment Spain's tennis future took its rightful place beside its glorious past. When the baton passed not in ceremony, but in sweat, nerves, and history. Alcaraz himself recognizes that symbolism. That racket changed everything for me, he said recently. It wasn't just a win. It was when I realized that I could be here for a long time, that I could build something that lasts. And build he has. In just 3 years, he's constructed a resume that most players would envy after 2 decades. Grand Slam crowns, Masters 1000 trophies, ATP Finals appearances, and countless records shattered. But perhaps the most striking statistic isn't found on paper. It's the fact that Alcaraz, despite his meteoric rise, continues to evolve. Every setback becomes a blueprint. Every flaw a project. Now, as the Paris Masters 1000 unfolds, the stakes extend far beyond the points race. For the first time in modern tennis, a generation change feels complete. Rafael Nadal, the warrior of clay, has stepped into twilight. Novak Djokovic, the ultimate tactician, has begun to choose his battles carefully. And standing under the Paris lights are 2 heirs, one Spanish, one Italian, shaping the future in real time. Their paths couldn't be more different. Alcaraz thrives in chaos, drawing energy from the crowd, improvising brilliance where logic ends. Sinner thrives in stillness, his focus as sharp as a blade, finding perfection in repetition. Together, they've given the sport a new polarity: emotion versus precision, flame versus ice, the roar versus the silence. And for now, the equation that defines the ATP world turns on every rally they play, every tiebreak, every final, every breath. If Alcaraz conquers Paris, it won't just be about numbers or trophies. It will mark the final frontier, the moment when his all-surface ambition becomes reality. If he falls short, the message will still be clear. The struggle is part of the story. The pursuit of mastery is endless. As he walks through the tunnel before his opening match, surrounded by the muffled noise of the arena, there's no hint of hesitation. The cameras catch his trademark smile, but behind it lies something deeper, a calm born of preparation. Because for Carlos Alcaraz, this isn't about proving others wrong anymore. It's about proving himself right. The boy from Palmar built a court to chase perfection. Now, on the biggest indoor stage of them all, he'll try to show the world that he's found it.